You're listening to War for Idiots, a podcast by idiots for idiots.
All right, man. So just let me know
We're rolling.
when you are good to go.
We're rolling.
Oh, I can see your studio now.
Yeah, man. This is the new
Super
this is the new gig I got when I left. Yeah, you like it?
Real studio, right? Real studio, obviously.
Yeah. So you know how a lot of people messing about on Zoom, adding like their backgrounds.
Yeah.
So it's been really tough for me in my day job because every time I jump on, people are like, "Oh, nice background, Mick."
Yeah,
I'm like, "No, it's my studio. I'm a near award-winning podcaster. I'm really successful." They're like, "Doubt it." And then I have to do this.
Define near.
I'll show you.
Yeah. Okay. What do you do?
This.
All right. He's standing up.
I'll be able to do this if it was just a Zoom background. I'll be able to walk over here. Would I be able to pick up the stuff in the studio?
Oh, from the background, he's picked up a guitar. He's put it back down. For those visually who can't see what just
pretty much
happened,
find myself
not worth it.
every meeting for work. I'm having to play the guitar.
All right, so cue intro music.
Yep. Well, we're going now, man.
And let's do this.
Let's do it. Okay,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcast listeners around the virtual and real world, welcome. Welcome back to another episode of War for Idiots, Season 2.
War for Idiots. Season 2.
War for Idiots, Season 2. My name is Rich the Fool.
And I am Mick the Halfwit.
And we are indeed the idiots that you have been looking for the last 2 and a bit years. And we're here today, tonight, whenever you are listening or watching this podcast or stream, to talk about Season 2 of War for Idiots. And Mick, I must say, it is very exciting to be back.
So good.
In your studio, in my bedroom, to be doing this again.
Mate, sometimes your bedroom's been called my studio.
Oh, good. Well, that's highly appropriate.
Hey, don't worry, we'll mark it not for kids or adults. We'll just mark it not for an audience. Yeah, man. Hey, it's good to be back together again. I mean,
it's good to be back together.
We're not near each other because we're in ISO because of the Rona, but apart from that, it's pretty cool.
It's good to see you. You're looking much more hairy than when I last saw you.
Yeah.
But it's good to be back doing this again. I must say I have missed doing some of the pod, and mainly because we got heaps of good feedback from what we did in Season 1. I don't know about you, but in 2017,
I got feedback.
In 2017 when the last episode premiered in November at the end of 2017, got a lot of good feedback in 17, got a lot of good feedback in 18. And what surprised me was in 19 and even in 2020, I'm still having people come up and say, hey, are you War for Idiots? I enjoy War for Idiots. It's fun. I had someone who tells me their kids thoroughly enjoys it, which is really good. And looks like we are right on the mark for it. But how have you been for the last 2 years with everything?
Yeah, good. Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Great. Well,
change jobs. Change jobs. Bought a massive studio, and podcasting to get myself out of debt. What about yourself?
Much the same, minus the studio, and not podcasting to get myself out of debt. But no, look, lots has changed, and I think it's fair to say around the world a lot has changed over the last couple of years, and part of today is we'll do a bit of a recap on all of that. Now, we're doing something a little. Yeah, sorry.
Do you know it should change?
What should change?
I think our branding should change.
Really?
So I am going to offer a mug.
Yeah.
A free War for Idiots mug, vintage, with this stuff.
Whoa. Yeah.
All right. I'll chuck in a mug and a T-shirt. Okay. A mug and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
To anyone out there who comes up with some wicked show art for us.
That's a good idea. Can I win it?
No, you can't win it. One person can win it. So when I say anyone out there, the winner, but we'd like to see multiple entries.
It'd be pretty cool. And I must say, look, we did have debate because when we started this whole thing, we really wanted to do something that was serious topic that people could get something out of, could learn from, could start a conversation. But we wanted to do it in a format that was not confrontational. It wasn't academically sort of intimidating, and it was approachable, I think was the words that we kind of used.
And not crap.
And that's why... And not crap was part of the rules as well. So we came up with War for Idiot. Mick designed that logo, which took 3 to 4 months, if not years, of dedication.
That was really tough to design. I don't know if you don't know, but it's a circle, a half circle,
yeah,
a rounded rectangle, and some lines.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
It was
and that's a question mark there. I'm actually just
profound.
pretending I'm on the weather because that's the only bit of the studio that's fake.
Swatting it away for those that can't see. So, War for Idiots Season 2, we've got a lot of good episodes planned this week. But before we do, we wanted to take a moment to look back at what was War for Idiots Season 1.
Yeah.
Famous, heavily downloaded. Lots of people got a lot out of it. We didn't get any sponsorship or support or money out of it.
That sucked,
we got a lot of ridicule from people like, well, they'll remain nameless.
Yeah, like Reece Crawley. Reece Crawley remain nameless. Peter Dean will remain nameless.
But would you believe, Mick, and you probably do because you produced them all, that we did 17 episodes? 17!
We actually did, we did 20.
We did 20 episodes, of which 17 premiered. Why don't you run us through the episodes that did not premiere?
So the first one was our very first episode, which you maintain was our best episode. I maintain...
Famously, if you go back and listen to number 1 episode, The Idiots and Carl, where we break the ice with War for Idiots and talk about everything we want to do, it will sound a little weathered. It will sound a little aged because it was, in fact, the second one we had done. The first recording, I can remember it like it was, I literally remember the chair I was sitting in, the room we were in. I remember everything about it. And that amazing sense, because for me, it's my first episode of podcast I've ever done in my life. I was like, we did it. And then just the look of panic in your eyes. We didn't do it. We didn't do it, Rich. We didn't do it. Don't worry, mate. Let's just do it again.
The moment I realised was the exact moment I pressed the delete button going, wait a minute, that was delete.
So that's so easy to delete. That makes no sense.
That's the... I don't know why on that particular app it has the delete button after you record it straight away. Like there should be a safety catch or something. Like idiot, right?
Yeah. It's not idiot proof. Confirmed. Not idiot proof.
But that was the first one. Then the last one, we never released our very last one. I don't know why. It wasn't very good either.
Agreed.
And then there was one in the middle where we tried an interview format with a guest, but we didn't release it. It was with Reece Crawley, good mate of the show's been going off tonight about my technical failure for the live stream. Yeah. So thanks, Reece. Yeah. Good guy. I still have the audio from that interview, Reece. So you better mind your P's and Q's or it goes to him. And I know him.
Can you spell blackmail? But look, 17 great episodes. As we said, a lot of good feedback and a lot of highlights. Highlights, any episodes that sort of come back to you that you want to sort of talk about now? Anything that any good memories?
Yeah, some good memories.
Yep.
All right. So the one that I found like the hardest one to follow, which I still think is one of our best ones. It was probably one of the best ways of explaining Thucydides. Although it just, you didn't let me know what you were going to do before we did it. And the whole idea of mouse farming in The Idiots Go Greek.
Oh, my goodness.
That had me thinking the whole time.
You are one pathetic loser.
The soundboard's back, baby.
The soundboard's back. Oh, the crowd goes wild.
Look, man, I love the mouse farming one. I've actually used that analogy twice to try and explain the Thucydides Trapple Great Power competition.
Good.
One of the times was to one of our old literature professors. Hi, Heather. It didn't.
Didn't land.
Yeah.
Didn't land.
She's like, and I passed you boys. So you guys graduated? I'm like, yeah, we did. But that was good. That was really good.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the mouse farming. I don't know what I was thinking. Classic.
Yeah.
We one that I personally like, mainly because we got a lot of good feedback from it, was the Mission Command episode that we did. Mission Command, a topic that I love delving into, a topic which, it's two words linked together that I've been talking about and trying to do my entire career, and yet I have not mastered it, and yet I have so much more to learn about it. So I really thoroughly enjoyed that episode because it was a great opportunity to air a lot of ideas and concepts. And I know that a lot of people out there use that episode as their own sort of professional military education or just professional development session, as a primer to get the conversation going.
Yeah. I've heard that too. I've heard we're pretty big, pretty popular. I've heard it.
The movie reviews were also pretty fun. I think we should definitely sustain the movie reviews, mainly
we did
because
movie reviews. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman.
we did
That's right.
we did Hacksaw Ridge, we did War Machine, we did Wonder Woman. So
Still a better war movie
reviews.
than Pearl Harbor.
Have you got another movie where America wins Pearl Harbor? That's an amazing movie, documentary, if you will.
I mean, they did
but the movie reviews were good. I would like to sustain the movie reviews, mainly because they're easy for me to research because I just get to watch a movie.
Yeah.
I get a lot of good material from my wife as well, as she's watching it saying, hey, you should talk about this, and I steal as my own. One movie that we missed in the last 2 years was the Avengers movies, which I think
mate, we need to go from like Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame, but we probably need to start at Iron Man.
There's not enough internet for how much I want to say about those movies. I don't think.
About how they would be so much better if they were DC.
I don't think you're allowed to say swear words like that. That's really, really, really offensive to everyone listening.
It's not the worst thing I've done on air. Yeah, I think we should keep those movies up.
Any regrets? Any episodes that we sort of did and that you weren't happy with, or anything that you wish that we could have done back then? Noting, I know you're
season
looking at
2 in 2018.
I know. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Should we have tried to create some momentum? Maybe.
No, this is
That's
good.
all
This is mature. We're mature now. I mean, I've matured.
I have not.
I can tell by your shirt. I didn't even know tonight was formal wear.
It's Friday formal. You got to do it, man. You got to keep some sort of weird rhythm going when you're locked down.
Because of the Rona.
Formal
and for all our I just realised we try not to swear on this show, so I've just got to find something. But for all those people out there who know that when we're recording this, we're obviously doing it during the Rona, which is Australian for coronavirus.
Yeah.
So there's one thing we would like you to do, and that is, hang on, the soundboard. They've changed the soundboard on me. Anyway, here, like everyone else, we're doing the good thing. We're working from home, looking after everyone, doing the social distancing thing, and we just need all of you to stay the home. Please?
Worth it. Worth it. I've got to just tell you a bit of feedback. That crescendoed amazingly. Worth it. Sustain.
I don't believe you.
You have got to be kidding.
All right. So talk to me, Mick, about let's bridge the gap. Okay, so we've been gone. We pretty much were hermits for the last 2 years. No one saw us. No one heard from us. I missed it. We haven't been doing anything for the last 2 years. Let's catch up on what has happened in the world over the last 2 years since we last recorded an episode of War for Idiots and released it, which was at the end of 2017.
And by the last 2 years, you mean 2018, 2019. You don't mean the last 2 months of 2020, which have been a year each.
No.
It's good. Hey, if anyone doesn't believe Rich can do maths, go back, rewind the video. You literally see him do the maths in his head just then. So he is a mathematician, proven.
So 2018. Big things happen in the world. Hit me. What do you got?
North Korea and the USA became friends. Like, hey, I like in the show notes how we've got a photo of Trump and.
I knew you'd like it.
I'm going to see if I can find that and share it on the video for people. Anyway, yep. You keep going.
You can enjoy the photos. So in 2018, this crazy state of North Korea and the USA under, the president, Donald Trump, we have a picture of them shaking hands. So it seems like the whole tension with the Korea Peninsula quietened down, dampened down, and tensions eased a lot and focus has shifted to other areas. So that was a pretty significant part of 2018.
Hugely significant.
Hugely significant. I think from memory, a lot of people got to thank Dennis Rodman personally for that. I believe he was, I don't know if that's true in any way.
Dennis Rodman wanted people to thank him. Hey, I'm just going to share it for our viewers, listeners who can't see it. I'm not even sharing it, am I? Yeah, I'm sharing it. Cool.
There you go.
Yeah. So for viewers, you can see that.
Happened.
So that happened. That was pretty cool.
and you're welcome. And also, we had a royal wedding in 2018, which I know the world got very excited about. Of course, Meghan Markle and Harry got hitched. Everyone was excited. Slightly polarizing event. Markle is not the traditional royal who you would think would marry into it, and then we know sort of what goes on the next couple of years. But it was a pretty big event at the time. It brings up a lot of interest about the future of the royals. What's the sort of requirement for them? Why they're there? And the sort of controversy that came with that wedding and continues to come with the royals. But a pretty big event for 2018. That my wife would not allow me to continue podcasting unless I mentioned it, because she is a big royal fan, especially when there's a wedding or there's a baby.
Really? She obviously never lived in the UK.
And in 2018,
can you see the royal wedding? Am I sharing it?
I can. It's
awesome.
popped up. Yeah, you're sharing it.
Sweet, cool.
And then in 2018, we had the hashtag Me Too movement, which was a very powerful movement across the world. It seems.
And no jokes about that one, so that's good. Thanks for taking the tone down. Very important movement, though. Very important movement, linked to the unfolding Harvey Weinstein case, which came into sort of popular light. People became aware of it. Yeah, now the bastard's in jail.
22 years later. Yeah, we understand the consequences of those actions, and that continues to develop as we go through. So look, a pretty significant year in 2018 from a geopolitical perspective, from a royal wedding perspective, and from a social movement perspective. A lot of things happened. In hindsight, we should have been podcasting about that. We should have really been podcasting about that stuff. Maybe we can do some. Maybe we can go back in time and do a couple of those another time. Okay, 2019. Talk to me about 2019.
So 2019. So Trump was impeacched.
The beginning of the impeachment occurred. That's right. In 2019.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's right. It took until this year, didn't it, for it to actually happen, which is a shame. We had and by that I mean our American listeners must be crazy if they think he didn't need to be impeached. So I'm very political now. So that's pretty cool. That's another thing. I grew a beard and political spine. There's also we had Brexit. We had a British Prime Minister resign over Brexit. The English Prime Minister, Theresa May.
The reason why these, I mean, and you know, if we look at these are significant events. You know what I mean?
Well,
superpower, world-changing events that originated within these sort of countries. You know, certainly news down here in Australia, certainly something that we are tracking as well, and certainly something that raises a lot of concern, a lot of interest as we discuss how the world is progressing. What else?
And then we had the I'll pull up a picture of it because this is it's quite amazing what happened next. And I'll pull up one of these iconic pictures from it. It was the Hong Kong protest, and the Hong Kong protest kind of grabbed everyone's attention because of what they
grabbed
could
the
have
world.
been.
It grabbed the world by storm.
Because of what people thought it was going to be. I'll just try and zoom in on this picture here and then share it because, as we know, China's a pretty authoritarian state. So we thought that this was going to be a real shake-up. How are they going to deal with Hong Kong, which is a pretty liberal country? Just you should be able to see the Hong Kong photo now, listeners. You see that there?
Coming up now.
That's look at what people are protesting and going up against the police in. That's not good PPE, although it's a pretty good gas mask. But the poncho is going to do nothing for you.
That fire's going straight through that.
But the world was on razor's edge because, and this is I've got a segue story for this, Rich. In fact, it might even give me a chance to show off something really cool. So last year I did some teaching at a university, and I had a student that lived in Australia for 10 years. She'd come from China about 5 weeks before the start of the semester, or maybe it was 3 weeks. She watched the Four Corners, which is a TV show here in Australia on the ABC. She watched a documentary on the Tiananmen Square massacre. She grew up in China until she was an adult. She had no idea until last year that it had even happened. And it was quite amazing, actually. She then signed up to become a journalist and started the communications course. I happened to be one of the teachers on, and I may have won an award for my teaching. But she It's pretty. It was
I was
pretty
gonna say
amazing.
humble brag, but the humble sort of died away real quick. Yeah, continue.
I have not been known for my humility, Rich. But no, it was amazing. So the Hong Kong protest, the world's standing there with bated breath. Is it going to be another Tiananmen? But let's keep going. The fire at Notre Dame.
Just before we go, 3 events so significant. You know, the Trump impeachment, Brexit happening in the UK, and the Hong Kong protests. There is no other superpowers left, you know, that are really influencing the world as heavy as those 3 countries within those events. Now, in isolation, it seems significant, but these are all happening at the same time. What does it mean when they're happening? What does it mean to us? What does it mean to the world? What does it mean to how we see strategy? What does it mean to how we see war? So much to talk about. We definitely got to come back and have a little discussion about this.
And all our listeners were like, "Where the hell are you guys? I need someone to rationalise this for me."
Now, the next one is the fire. Remember the fire at Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
The Hunchback fire.
Quasimodo.
I think it was called. But that was significant in that it got the world's attention, and it was a real polarizing event, if you recall, because the world was saddened by it. A lot of the world. You know, it was kind of you know, both sides of the argument. There was part of the world that were really saddened by the fire and pledged a lot of money to rebuild this amazing piece of history. And then there's the other side of the world who was like, why are we spending money on a building? We've got so many other problems to sort of deal with. And this single fire in this iconic building was a real polarizing thing for the world, certainly the people that I was around at the time.
We could have put some money into some vaccines, but we'll keep going. So there's a new royal baby.
Look, it was a new royal baby.
You cover all the royal stuff because I was in the UK leading up to Will and Kate's wedding, and so I'm just kind of off royal stuff.
Oh, really?
And the one royal I've met and had a good banter with was linked to Epstein. So you know, I'm a bit off him.
Yeah, right. Well, there's a new royal. His name is Archie. Of course, that was the child from the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry marriage,
nice.
Which I don't think we can call him Prince. Is he a prince anymore? I'm not.
No,
really
he still
sure.
is. He's just not the. It's just. It's like being the online brigade. He's just. He's now taken a training command posting.
Got it. Good. Makes sense. Look, I'm all for him. You know, they seem like nice people. Go off. I'm sure they're listening right now.
And for all our British listeners, it's because you guys were savaging them in the tabloids, just attacking them, criticising them, and you basically just caused all this kind of stress. So I guess the lesson here is just don't be a packer, and then people won't, you know, pack up and leave you.
We should rename this the Soundboard Podcast because it is just hit after hit after hit, I must say.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. None of that joke ended up in the. That's a better use of the toilet. Now let's go to the black hole picture because we have been doing this for a long time tonight.
This is we really have. This is my favorite. This is almost my favorite thing in 2019.
What's my microphone look like? Yeah, the black hole picture was pretty good.
It was crazy. It was massive. You know, I mean, what blew me away was. Up to this point in time, well, yeah, it is actually quite a big black hole. It's like 6 million times bigger than our sun or something.
It's just black though, right?
You can't see it. You know, you can't. Well, you can see what's around it apparently, and I mean the science behind getting the pictures, it was just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I just remember it was a significant event of 2019, and I think worthy of discussion. So there we go. So look, the last 2 years have been quite crazy. A lot of strange things have happened. The world has moved in many, many different directions.
And now we're in the freaking apocalypse. And
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We are locked down talking about COVID-19, and you look at these events and they're almost like nothing now. You know what I mean? Because
that's right.
What we're talking about now is having so much more impact than all of these things had on our lives at that time. So, but we didn't want this to be the COVID-19 podcast. It's certainly something that I think we want to address, maybe even in the next episode. But yeah, it's really hard to focus on anything else with COVID-19 right now because it's impacting us in so many ways. And I can't help but think how different the world is going to be after it's all said and done.
7. It's going to be 7 different.
All right. 7. Yeah. Well, Mick is able to measure it, and it's going to be 7 different.
It was on a scale of 1 to 10. It's going to be 7 different. And I mean, like for those listeners that are international, Rich and I both live very close to the bushfire areas. Actually, Rich probably lives closer. So for us, like December and January, man, was just sitting in your house, breathing smoke, right? I was just about to say sitting in your house smoking. No, breathing smoke, although it's legal here. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, thank God the bushfires are over.
Yeah,
and we're like, have a pandemic.
Yeah, no more toilet paper for you, idiot.
Yeah. Oh, mate, the number of people that have stolen bog roll. Oh, did I hit the toilet again? I did.
You're subconsciously using it now.
So this is not a chair I'm sitting on.
So when we reflect on what we did in season 1 and what we wanted to do when we originally sort of brought to life this concept of War for Idiots. So are you happy, mate? Are you good with what we're doing? Are you good with what we want to do? Do you think we're going the right way? And do we need to change anything?
No. Well, so 2 things. Let's see how well the name goes. I don't mind if we change the name. I don't mind if we keep the name. I would love someone else to design our art for us because this is actually really simple and easy to get on T-shirts. Looks quite retro, but the truth is it's just crap.
Well, look, I don't know if, I know you're just being humble, I think. It's an amazing piece of art.
Okay, I'm going to pull up my latest attempt at drawing for us. And in fact, people will see it on the show intro, but I'm just going to pull this up and then I'm going to show it to you. And then I'm going to show you why, out of all the things I'm not modest about, I'm not actually just using this as token modesty. I'm actually, here we go. You should be able to see that, right? So you can see that.
Oh yeah.
Richie, I need help. I just need someone out there to help us.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But that's actually to scale. That's actually to scale. Like for those people that haven't met Richie, like he's a tall, big, like muscle dude. Yeah. So it's really good for me being able to insult him remotely.
My head.
He could crush me.
My head's getting so big.
But I actually look bigger because of our perspectives here.
But look, War for Idiots, we did discuss changing the name. I think War for Idiots as a name, again, some people sort of stay away from it because they're like, oh, it must be very lowbrow, and they're right. But I think a lot of people are surprised by how much they actually get from it. So look, I'm happy to keep it. I'm happy to take suggestions. I'm just happy to keep on sort of doing it. It's a bit of fun, and people are enjoying it. So why not? All right. So before we go, let's just do a couple of social media plugs. So we did try to live stream this over YouTube tonight. That did not work.
But we'll try it again.
Yeah, we'll try it again. Surprise, surprise, Friday night. Everyone else is using up all of the internet.
This is the problem, right? We did our test run before most people got locked down.
Right. So we did do a rehearsal, people, but Mick just couldn't get it to work when we had to. But
I accidentally left the rehearsal video up there as well.
Good.
Yeah,
so
it was private.
You can find us on social media. You just have to search for War for Idiots, and you will find the War for Idiots Facebook page. Get on there, get on the live feed, listen to some last or previous episodes. Leave a comment and tell us what you think about the show and anything you want us to talk about. I mean, getting ideas from the people that are listening is something that we certainly would like to do. Mick,
so we're on Facebook. We're on Facebook as well. So search for War for Idiots on Facebook. Search for Rich N. Mick, War for Idiots on YouTube. We've gone with Rich and Mick on the YouTube, so we can do the chat thing back to you. And we've got Twitter pages. We've got our War for Idiots page, which is at War numeral 4 Idiots. That's the number 4. And we also have personal Twitter accounts. You can find Richie at Richie_ Triple T. It looks like he has an amalgamation. Is it you and Carl combined, or is it just Carl from Clausewitz's profile?
It's just Big Carl. Just Big Carl.
It's Big Carl. Cool. And then you can find me at Mick_Cook, and I'll just double check that that's us on Twitter. And I'll find Richie, and I'll show our viewers, because it's just this whole video thing's new to me. So I can literally just show them. Hey, so that's Richie.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's probably not very hard to see. Cool. That's what Richie looks like on Twitter. And then there's me with my hero shot. So, yep, good. So come find us on Twitter. You'll find that that's probably where we engage the most with people. We do engage a bit on Facebook, but you don't get the personal engagement from either of us. We just love jumping on Twitter and getting into arguments with people, really. Cool. We've also got... we need reviews, hey, now that we're starting up again. Yeah,
I mean, so you can obviously download this from the App Store, which is hopefully where you download it, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If this is the first episode of War for Idiots you've ever listened to,
we're sorry.
I'm sorry. We're sorry. Go back and listen to the others. They set this one in context, and some of them are pretty good. So we've been told. I don't really agree with that. But do leave a review. 14 people or have left reviews thus far. I think I've left around 13 of them. Mick, I think you did the other one.
Yeah, I did the other one, yeah.
Leave a review, tell us what you think, and tell us what you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah, I did the one that gave us 1 star.
And merchandise. Now,
so we've got merchandise for sale. So the easiest way to find our merchandise
we should defo do toilet paper.
Oh my God. I'll see if our supplier can do that. If they've got any left either. But so we've got merch for sale. So if you go to the deadprussian.com, that's just thedeadprussian.com. And if you go to merchandise or store, click on it and you can find the War for Idiots range in there next to the Dead Prussian podcast range. And while we're at here, Rich, I'm just going to plug that the Dead Prussian podcast has launched its own social media network for its listeners. So those people that want to join that, go to the website and you can find the community hub as well. So get on, have a chat. We'll put some War for Idiots stuff on there. I might even let Rich in there, and we might put a War for Idiots channel in there maybe. We might not. We do book clubs and writing and shit like that. Oh, I didn't beat that one.
Boom.
No.
Hey, don't worry. No one will have listened to this far. Anyway, look, until next time, this is Rich.
And I'm Mick.
And remember, until next time, that we, of course, may be idiots.
But so are you.
And you. And you. And maybe you. And especially you.
You.
War for Idiots is a TDP production. All opinions expressed by individuals on the podcast are those of the individual and not necessarily representative of any other organisation. The music used during War for Idiots is Fireworks by Jazar and is used under an Attribution Share Alike 3.0 international licence.